seizure. It is treason at the least.
Have you never imagined yourself on the Iron Throne?
I'll be honest, I barely remember what happened in this episode.
Well, that's what you say every single.
No, it's not. This one I really don't. I actually don't know what episode 9 is about. I only remember the ending. That's all I remember.
Okay, well, actually, the ending is really good. Rainey does a really good job, but we won't jump straight into it because if in case you didn't see episode 9,
You're gonna have to guide me through this one.
I will guide you through this one, just as I've guided many through Thanksgiving.
No, you haven't. You did not.
Okay.
You did not.
Oh yeah. This episode is called the Green Council, and we see right from the get-go why it is so. We leave off with Viserys, of course, taking his last breath on episode 8.
Taking the last breath and then also revealing the prophecy to Alicent, who interprets it as
it's her Aegon. It's my Aegon.
As a commandment from the king saying to make his son
Aegon the king.
Yeah.
Which I feel with Alicent, it genuinely makes her feel that he meant that, and she genuinely was like, okay, this is okay, whatever claim that Renee had. The king wants this. He had a prophecy dream, whatever the case may be. He said, Aegon, we're good. Seal of approval from the king before his last dying breath. They kind of reveal his death in the castle as a secret because they don't want word getting out too quickly.
They don't want the word to get out quickly to Rhaenyra.
Well, to control, right, a lot of the of what would happen next, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, if it was just a normal death, people wouldn't care. But I mean, if it was a normal king's death, right, they do all this fanfare, and then of course, do a ceremony, right, for the next crowning of the king. But we don't know who's the king gonna be, or if it's gonna be a queen. But I mean, that's why in this episode, for the Green Council is very important. There's one of the little birdies that talks about the king's passing to Alicent, and then they all call a meeting, the meeting of the Green Council.
Yeah.
The small council too. Yeah, they're small council, but the Green Council, right? Because they're all high towers, right? And it looked like Otto Hightower's plan to usurp the throne was always kind of in play, and Alicent was kind of surprised. Yeah, didn't it seem that Alicent was surprised?
Yes.
Yeah, it seemed like so surprising for her. She's like, wait, what's going on? Like,
I mean, I feel like that's been always the case for everything that's happened from the moment that Harren Strong was burned to death in Harrenhal.
Yeah.
Right. She had a genuine surprise.
Right.
But at the same time, it's what makes me hate her character.
Why? Because she doesn't know all these bad things are.
No, because she's just it has how do you stay that
innocent?
Not innocent, but naive.
Oh, I see.
In a scenario like where you're at, where you're vying for the throne, the throne of the kingdom.
Yeah.
And then you're so surprised by all of the, all the secrets and all of the terrible things that happens to achieve your goal. And it's and you still have the audacity to be surprised by it.
Right. She was surprised, but
it's almost like disrespectful, to your victim.
I don't know what the plans are, but
I have this plan to make myself the ruler. Oh, but I didn't mean for you to die.
Yeah, I wanted you to just tap them or imprison them forever,
or just push them out into the sea, so that they run away.
Right. Like nothing like over the edge, burning, killing, stabbing. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Or having mercenaries do it, right? But I mean, the good thing is Viserys died on his own accord. but all the while, Otto Hightower had kind of plans in place with the with the Lannister that was on the council.
Sure.
But there was somebody, and I don't recall his name. He did oppose the Aegon becoming the king of the next king because she was sworn fealty to Rhaenyra. I forget his name.
Great. Me too.
He was the in charge of the coin. Unfortunately, he sees an untimely death because he doesn't agree with the rest of the council, and his head gets smashed in the little marble thing, which was also kind of sad. I mean, I didn't know necessarily how things were going to go down, but I did feel like, oh, maybe, there's going to be some people who are going to oppose it and, try to do right. Because, right, in the last episode that we had discussed, I really did feel that Rhaenyra did deserve she deserved the crown because she was, she was considered the next line of throne, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything to you? Nobody?
It only in name. It's not like she had any political power.
Yeah, but didn't they designate her as next of kin or next in succession?
Yeah, in name only. But it doesn't mean she had any political power.
I guess so. I mean, I guess yeah, that's always the case, even with.
It's like because the thing is like you have to think, where does the power initially come from? Is it from the throne itself, or is it from the people that support you in that court?
Yeah.
Right? You only have power because people give you that power to use.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
but the thing is, like, if once people stop, serving you or have no support of you, well, they're obviously then they're not going to follow you, and they're going to rebel against you, or they're going to uprise against you, or they're just going to ignore you, right?
Right. And I guess at that time, right, it's all about succession. It's not like, Trump trying to just be like, I'm the president, I'm going to change the rules and I'm still going to remain president, right? It became like almost like, a dictatorship at that point. Kind of wild.
Sure.
So it was Lord Lyman who actually had opposed the Green Council, and then of course Kristen Cole kills him. Sad. I was surprised. A part of me thought that he didn't intend on killing him. He just slammed his face to the ground.
No, that was intent. I mean, what else would you slam a person to the ground?
No, just shut up. Shut up, old man.
Well, what was surprising was it was Kristen Cole that did the
yeah. Why did that happen? Why did Kristen Cole?
Well, because Kristen Cole is biased. He wants to see the Hightower succeed, right? He's loyal to Alicent because of his vendetta or vengeance against Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, because they had a little thing going on.
Well, not only that, but he feels like she tempted him to soil his honor.
That's true.
So now that he feels like he has no honor left, he only has vengeance, it kind of feels like he can do anything he wants, which includes killing members of the Small Council. If
I know. I mean,
agree.
That must be punishable by death. I mean,
who's going to punish him?
Nobody on the Green Council, that's for sure.
Exactly, and they're the ones that hold all the cards, right?
Right, and then we also see the commander of the Kingsguard, right, Sir Harold Westerling. He's badass, man. He comes out, he's like, "Whoa, what you guys gonna do? I can take y'all out." He's like, "I can cut y'all down." I thought that was a pretty good moment, and I think he'll probably show up a little bit later, in the season because I mean, he was arguably one of the best swordsmen, right? Since he is the commander of the Kingsguard. Do you remember Sir Harold Westerling?
Just because you're a commander doesn't necessarily mean you're the best.
The best, yeah. I mean, he did say he could take on all three of them, and then just cut them up like oops. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Isn't that the same quote from what's that guy's name?
Lannister. What's his name? Not Tywin.
No.
Jamie Lannister, right?
No.
He was a good swordsman before his hand got cut off.
Yeah, so Sir Jaime Lannister, he's obviously a good swordsman, but
Yeah.
he's not like the strongest one, right? There are at least two people that were better than him with the sword.
Oh
One
yeah.
was Sir Arthur Dane, who served under the Targaryens.
Mm.
And the other one was the old commander of the King's Guard.
Aegon?
No, during Game of Thrones.
Mm.
He served under both Aegon and then also King Baratheon when he usurped the throne.
I do remember. I forget the king's. I don't know his name though, but I do remember him. He was a good swordsman. You a good swordsman?
Yeah, he was considered one of the best.
Jeremy's looking that up.
Barristan Selmy, Sir Barristan Selmy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that was who he was. He was considered one of the best swordsmen, just underneath Sir Arthur Dane.
Who even gives him that title? Who even gave him that title?
The king. You mean the king, Knights of the King's Guard,
swordsman.
or the? Oh,
I mean,
no, it's just something that people acknowledge him for.
Known across the land.
Yeah.
Across the land.
He was just that good.
Yeah.
Because he fought in a lot of wars with in the early days with Sir Jaime Lannister.
Right, yeah. That's true.
And Sir Arthur Dane.
Oh, nice.
Before the rebellion of the Baratheons, right? There was a conflict with a group organized group of bandits. I'm gonna say, I forget what the whole thing is, but anyway, they were becoming a problem in King's Landing, and the current king, the Targaryen king at the time, had wanted to wipe them out. So he had, Sir Jaime Lannister, he had Sir Arthur Dane, and Sir Barristan Selmy, and whatever the rest of the army. Wipe him out. And that's actually how Sir Jaime Lannister proved himself in battle and became a knight at age 15.
Oh, I see. And he became the commander of the King's Guard, right? Eventually.
Sure, after literally everyone else got banished or died.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so Barristan Selmy he was kicked out of the King's Guard by Cersei Lannister.
Oh, Cersei. Yeah. Yeah, she as the Queen Regent, I guess she had the power to do that and do whatever. It's like, my husband don't care.
Well, because he was loyal. Cersei didn't trust him, so that's why he kicked him out.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I trust my brother, who I'm sleeping with, over you. Thanks. And then essentially, there is a little bit of a disagreement on how they want to usurp the throne. Alicent, of course, wants to use diplomacy, while the Hightower wants to take out Rhaenyra Targaryen. But the first thing they have to do is, of course, get Prince Aegon ready to take the throne. And I think that's where, for me, the episode was kind of a little bit weird. How did you lose track of this, young lad? He's out and about, doing his thing, just, spreading his seed. And that splits the team into two groups, right? We have the twins, and then we also have Aegon and Sir Criston Cole looking for Aemon, his brother, and Criston Cole looking for Aegon, so then they could, whoever I guess finds him first will be able to kind of manipulate him in a way of actually ordering Rhaenyra to either to attack her, or have kind of just take the throne and be chill, right? So
take the throne and be chill.
Yeah.
Well, Alicent wants to. I think she wants her children to have the freedom to choose.
Right.
I think that's generally what she wants, but at the same time, she needs them to become king.
Right. Yeah, because
in
then
order
she
to do
becomes
that,
nothing, right? She becomes nothing, really.
No, it's not because of her, but I think she generally wants her children to be free, and the only way to do that is to make him the king with no strings attached.
Yeah. Right, because I mean, that's what Otto Hightower was telling Queen Alicent, was that, oh, if you let Rhaenyra live, she's gonna kill your kids because she really wants the Iron Throne, right? The other thing that had occurred, well, two things that were kind of interesting. One
Well, it's
was,
like he wanted it'll lead to like civil war. I mean, I think that was probably the one thing that Otto Hightower was correct about from the very beginning.
yeah, they kind of like foretold that. Um, two things all the while that were happening during this moment was, one was Alicent did visit Rhaenys and kind of lock her up. Like, yeah, I'll lock you up. And then talks to her about, hey, can you support my son? And then as the two groups are looking for Aemon, the interesting thing is we see that Aemon has a lot of bastard children all across King's Landing, or what do they call it when it's like the lower streets? Call it something. They went to look around. As we're going through the streets of King's Landing, they're looking for Aemon. Right. Okay. Well, they eventually find Aemon. The twins find Aemon, and then Sir Kristen Cole and the brother actually do. Oh, sorry, Ergon. I don't fucking. These fucking people find him. That's what happened. They motherfucking find him. Then they start fighting.
Aemond.
Yeah, Aemon and Kristen Cole find him. They fight the
Find
twin.
Aegon, yes.
Yeah, they find Aegon. Then he's all like kind of drugged up, it looked like, and then they start fighting for him to bring him back, which they did bring him back. And so Alicent Hightower had all the cards against her father and said, let's just do it this way. And she's like, okay, well, before we do that, let's make him the king. And then they all like start bringing people into the streets. One of the twins, who's kind of on the fence about supporting Aegon as the king, releases Rhaenys, and then they all flood into the streets. That moment felt kind of intense for me because I was thinking that she was going to be found, and then essentially they were going to kill her. Because, you know, it even happened yesterday. When someone doesn't know that you're missing or gone, like nobody really cares until they find you. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, that's
Wait,
scary.
what do you mean?
Like, well, so I had taken my niece to do a surprise things for my grandparents, or for her grandparents, my parents, right? And essentially, like, we were out for like 4 or 5 hours, and no phone call, no nothing. I mean, essentially, someone could have kidnapped her, and she would have been gone. And you know, no one's none the wiser until someone's like, "Oh, where's so and so?" You know. But that, I mean, obviously, I did not kidnap her. I just picked her up. We bought flowers and brought it as a surprise to my parents, her grandparents, and it was a lovely moment. For Thanksgiving, who gives flowers on Thanksgiving? I have no idea. My niece does. But it made me think that, you know, Rhaenys, she's in this open area, just kind of being cattled in or herded in, and nobody knows that she's missing from her place, you know. No. And if someone were to kill her right then and there, she'd be gone, and nobody would know.
Well, not until later on.
Yeah, not until later on. But it's not like it'd be like, oh, hey, so did that, you know.
Well,
Like,
because they weren't aware that she escaped.
Right, exactly. But that's what made it very intense for me. It's like, oh, any smuggler or mercenary or someone could have just taken her out, and then that would have been the end of her storyline, you know? Like, it's like, oh my God, because she's trying to escape, right? So she doesn't have the comforts of the royal family and all this other stuff. And you know,
But she was I mean, she was being escorted by
Eric or Eric, one of them. One of the
I forgot
twins.
his name.
His name's Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, the twin. One of the twins, right? There was the twin that had a change of heart because he didn't feel like Aegon was the right ruler, you know?
Was it because of that, or was it just because he had a sense of duty to duty to the royal line?
Could be. I mean, yeah, I mean,
right? Because it's like the same thing with the Lord Commander and also the Lord of Coin.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think necessarily the thought ever about like who was like the right ruler.
or Lyman.
Because I think for them, it really doesn't matter who sits on the Iron Throne.
Really, you don't think so?
I think it's well, okay. It matters to a certain degree, but it's like as long as as long as someone sits on Iron Throne and things stay, steady or consistent, right? Then they can do their job and help King's Landing to, they can continue to govern King's Landing.
Yeah.
It's only when things start getting turmoil, when you get a lot of turmoil going on the Iron Throne, that's when, then
Things
it matters.
go into question, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously there wasn't any turmoil with Rhaenyra being on the Iron Throne, except for the fact that people wanted to
have a male-born heir.
Yeah, that's why I think they were against it, because I think they already in their mind they had established, okay, Rhaenyra is going to be the next king or the next ruler of King's Landing. And that would be then, and it would just continue on the Age of Peace.
The Age of Peace. Okay, so it was Eric who had helped Rhaenys actually escape. But the interesting thing is that he did have a change of heart. What changed his heart? Like you said, whether it was his alliance or whether it's his, his fealty to the succession, he just didn't feel that Aegon the second was the person who should be taking the Iron Throne. So tries to really it's so weird how these twins had such a prominent part in this whole Civil War, the Dance of the Dragons. It's weird for me. It's like,
what makes it weird?
I mean, maybe because they're twins. I don't know. It's weird.
What?
It makes it very unbelievable for me that, oh, hey, because when I think about it, it's like, okay, well, change of heart, great. But it's like, how did he know that he needed to release Rhaenys? You know what I mean? How did he know that he needed to be the one to, walk away from Aegon the second, right? And that Alicent was the one to take him. Like, it just doesn't make sense that he, instinctively knew these things to do to kind of help the Civil War.
Well, he's a King's Guard. Why wouldn't he know these things?
Did he know that Rhaenys was actually locked up?
Sure. Why wouldn't he? I mean, who else is going to guard her, keep her under lock and key?
I guess people they trust, the King's Guard.
The King's Guard, because, they serve the royal family.
Yeah. Well, he does play a pivotal role in the next episode, so I will not say too much. But I just find it very surprising that, he does, go against his twin brother who he grew up with the rest of his life, doesn't believe in those values and is willing to...
Well, they can grow up together and have different opinions on things.
Yeah, but
it could have been the fact that, Eric didn't support it from the beginning, but only decided to act on those feelings.
Right, once the king died, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe he only went along with it because of his brother, right? Who was in strong support of the other faction, and Eric, loving his brother, decided to go along with it, but I guess then realized that he shouldn't, and join the other side.
Yeah, and that's why they bring everyone, the whole shebang of King's Landing, into the Dragon Den, right?
It's the Sept of Baelor, I think.
Oh, was it the Sept, or was it? It wasn't the Dragon's Keep, or the?
Oh, maybe it was Dragon
Pit.
Maybe it was a Dragon Pit. I don't remember.
It was the Dragon because it had to be big enough. Plus, of course, the big moment, right? The moment that you remember so vividly.
Yeah, the Rhaenys finding her dragon, and then getting out of the ground.
Yeah. That was such a pivotal moment. I never really liked Rhaenys' character at all. I didn't like her character one bit. And even, Aegon and, of course, Alicent riding to, of course, the coronation. I didn't like Aegon or Alicent. But even a little bit before that, when he does, of course, rally together and then finally accepts the position as king and he raises his sword. You kind of see Alicent has a really like hidden but like joyous smirk on her face. what did you think about that? That was like,
Well, so this whole conflict revolves around one thing, which is how much power you can amass before the actual conflict starts, and that
spreading
power is dragons.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, dragons. Gotta have the dragons.
Yeah, dragons are literally the superpowers of that world, or they're the nuclear weapons of that world.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
And so it's like, you know, when both sides have dragons, it's then a matter of like who can have the most dragons on their side.
yeah, that's true. And the good thing is they have the big one of the big ones.
Well,
And
Team Green, Allison have the biggest dragon.
the biggest dragon, yeah.
Yeah.
And funny
and also the
because-
dragon pit. But then
I didn't
Damon, they have their own dragons as well.
Yeah, actually, Damon and all the kids, right? All his kids, and then of course Renee's kids have dragons.
Yeah.
I honestly am waiting for it.
And it just makes everything so much easier to understand why there's no dragons left in Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah, just the 3 from Daenerys.
Well, yeah, they're the only 3 left, and they're not even. I don't even know where they come from technically.
This came from eggs, right?
Well, no, I mean like what their journey was like.
That's true. Yeah, like how did they come to be? Because there was 0 dragons, right?
They were thought to be all extinct.
Oh.
That's crazy that they think that dragons went extinct, to be honest.
I know. And then they came back. What are the odds?
And, well, they came back, and now there's only 1 left.
There's only 1 left.
Yeah.
1 dragon.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, the episode ends with, of course, Rhaenys busting out of the bottom and then breathing hot air. I don't even know. At all the
You should have just burned them all to the crisp, honestly, at that point.
And I feel like a lot of people who are watching this will probably agree with us, or everyone. I think everyone on the internet was said like she could have just ended the whole season just by burning them to the ground.
Yeah.
What kind of story would? What kind
it would have saved a lot of bloodshed and grief later down the road.
Yeah, and would have lost them millions of dollars in trying to make the next couple of seasons. Do you know how many seasons they're making for House of the Dragon?
I don't actually.
I feel like they're making 5. Like at least you know how many seasons they're making for Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power.
Well, that's because Amazon that was like the biggest headline.
Yeah. Was it 5 seasons?
Yeah, for Rings of Power.
That's unbelievable. And then their episodes are so expensive. Oh, it's good. They said it's gonna take 4 full seasons of 10 episodes to do the Song of the. Oh, this was Martin, George R. R. Martin. Yeah, it would take about 10 episodes for 4 seasons to do the Song of Fire, Dance of the Dragon story justice.
So 4 full seasons.
I know.
I just hope that my only concern is like I hope that each season remains consistent.
What do you mean, like pacing, tempo?
Pacing, tempo, and dialogue and writing.
Right. Yeah. Please don't recast anyone, Henry Cavill. Please do not.
Well, I'm not even talking about recasting. I'm just talking about one of the biggest drawbacks to Game of Thrones was that it was so big and unfinished. By the end of the 6th season, you could already tell that the quality was changing,
going downhill.
I don't know if it was going downhill, but it's like you could tell there was no longer like a guidance from the books to like keep up with a certain expectations.
Right. Unfinished stories. It's the bane of all TV shows. I don't know. Maybe it's not, but yeah, they didn't have any source material to work off of, so that was very unfortunate. And now we're left with season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Yes, we are. Yeah. But that's okay, because all forgotten will be forgotten.
It's all forgotten and forgiven, thanks to George R. R.
I don't know about forgiven, but forgotten for sure.
Easy to forget things that are bad. But yeah, stay tuned. We're gonna do episode 10, the season finale. So like and subscribe. Comment below if you think that I don't know, Allison should have won, or if it should have been Otto Hightower and they should have killed Renea. Yeah, I mean, all these moments that could have just ended the series, right? Kill Renea, burn down all the high towers, easy as pie.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next time, and then yeah, take it easy.